Hello. I am James, and I live in Manchester in the UK. And you're listening to English with a Brew, a podcast where I talk about different day-to-day topics to help you learn English the most natural way possible. And that is only by listening to it. And if you want to support this podcast, read transcripts, and get exclusive access to more episodes, go to patreon.com/English with a Brew. As we say in Manchester, get a brew on, and let's get started. In this episode, I'm going to talk about going to a restaurant. It's probably one of the most useful things you can learn to talk about. When you start to learn a language, there are various situations and topics that I think are most common to learn first. Usually, you learn how to talk about your family, about school, work, the names for different foods and drinks. But when you actually need to use the language that you are learning in real life, it's probably because you're in a situation where you need to do something or buy something, or maybe to get help from someone, to ask a question and to understand the answer. Because of this, I actually think it's more useful to know how to order food in a restaurant, for example, than how to say your name. And by the end of this episode, you're going to know how. So, before you go to a restaurant, it could be a good idea to find a restaurant where you want to eat, where you're excited to go. A restaurant that makes the type of food that you like the most, perhaps. That could be a Mexican restaurant, or an Indian restaurant, Japanese, sushi, a Thai restaurant, or anything else. You might search for a restaurant on the internet, or maybe a friend gave you a recommendation. And when you have decided which restaurant you want to go to, sometimes it's a good idea to book a table or make a reservation. To reserve a table, you can call them on the telephone and tell them what day and time you want to arrive, and maybe how many people are coming with you. You can say, "Hey, I'd like to book a table for tonight for 4 people at 7 o'clock. Do you have space?" And they might respond, "Sorry, but we don't have a table for tonight at 7. But what about 8? And you can say, "Sure, 8 is fine, thank you." And then they will ask for your name, maybe for your telephone number. When you arrive at the restaurant, a waiter or waitress will greet you, say hello, and take you to your table. Sometimes they bring you water, and if they don't, it's okay to ask, "Excuse me, can you bring us some water for the table?" And they might ask, "Tap water or bottled water? We have still water or sparkling water." And tap water is always free, but still or sparkling water, water that comes in a bottle, is not. You have to pay for it. One tip, a thing that is useful to remember, is that in the UK, it's more polite and friendly to say, "Excuse me," when you want to get the attention of your waiter. Saying, waiter, can you bring us some water? Or waitress, can you bring us some water? Can seem a little rude or too direct in English. It implies that you think that you are better than them or above them. Next, the waiter will bring you the menu, and you can choose what you would like to eat and drink. Every restaurant is different, but usually there are 3 main courses. There are starters, which are small plates that you eat first. And then there are main courses, which is the biggest meal, the main meal. And when the waiter comes back to take your order, you can say, to drink, can I have a beer, please? And my friend would like a small glass of red wine. And to eat, for my starter, we would like some olives and garlic bread, and we're going to share. For my main, I'll have the spaghetti carbonara, please. Thank you. Usually, during your meal, while you are eating, the waiter will come to your table and ask, is everything okay with your food? And you can reply, oh, yes, thank you. Everything is perfect. After you've finished eating, the waiter will take the plates and the cutlery away. And the cutlery is the utensils that you use to eat, the fork, knife, and the spoon. And then you can decide if you want to eat dessert. The waiter might ask, would you like to see the dessert menu? And if not, you can say, no, thank you. We're full. I can't eat another bite. And then when you want to pay, finally, you can grab the waiter's attention by saying, excuse me, can I have the bill, please? And they will bring you the bill. Usually in the UK, we leave a tip, a small amount of money that you add to the bill for the service. And that tip is normally around 10%. Sometimes it's already included in the bill, and sometimes it's not. So it's good to check. And finally, you can pay with your card, and the waiter will bring you a card machine so you can enter your PIN number or pay with contactless. And the other option, of course, is to pay with cash. And after that, you can go. And that's it. So my question for today's episode is, where is your favorite restaurant? What type of food do you like to go out to eat? Let me know. And that's everything for today's episode of English with a Brew. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments if you did or if you didn't. And tell me which topics you'd like to hear me talk about in future episodes. And don't forget, you can read the transcript for this episode and get access to more exclusive content over on my Patreon page. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day, morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever time it is where you are right now. Take care.